Donnie Frey Show. Is there anything left to be said that hasn't been said? Are there people out there who have been so disgusted with Donald Trump for so long? It's like something that you just know. Donald Trump disgusts me. And then the Democrats are like, Kamala Harris, and you're like, that's worse. That's way worse. So then you're left with, what do I do? Because you feel like you're voting against your conscience if you come out and support Donald Trump. But what you have to really ask yourself is, okay, let me consider my conscience. Let me see if I can reconcile what it means to cast a vote for Donald Trump if I know that everything that we're dealing with right now, you are living in what Kamala Harris has to offer. Mm-hmm. So it's really that simple. But the only way to make it better for yourself is to cast a vote for the guy who you've been disgusted with for so long. Well, the Trump campaign is looking to appeal to people who may be looking for the reason to now vote for Donald Trump, and they have a few ads out. So we're going to watch a few of these ads and see very, very simply if they're able to make that case.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
Well, how was that?
Dang, it was a pretty freaking good ad.
I've watched that 3 times, and this is the first time I'm getting teary about it.
I was like, you look like you're feeling the same emotion I felt when I saw it the first time. I don't well up, and I welled up. That's what I want for my country.
You know what does it? There's some good imagery in there. When that woman is like shaking her, I'm doing it right now.
That's Tulsi Gabbard.
That's Tulsi Gabbard doing that? Wearing the fatigues?
Saluting, yes.
That woman?
I couldn't tell because she's not dressed the same way. When she's going to salute and she's shaking and she's about to burst, dude, that's hard to get
I'll
through.
tell you where it got me was watching Elon Musk look up at that rocket.
When
he was watching that come in, because that, like, I cannot think of something that is more America than that. That man said we need to go to Mars, and he is doing everything in his power to get us there, and he's changing the game when it comes to space travel. He's moved forward so fast, and NASA is just lagging behind. He's promising American entrepreneurship. Trump is promising that, and Kamala Harris is promising government programs. I want the entrepreneurship. I want that vision for my country.
He should have played that during the Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That ad's fantastic.
It is fantastic. And you know what? The thing that's fantastic about it is the America part of it. it's not the Donald Trump part of it.
He's not even in that ad that much.
He bookends it, and he's the catalyst to getting. I know that it's a phrase. I know we want to make America great again, and I know that's catchy and it's great branding. And boy, a businessman comes up with and makes MAGA this huge, huge success. But the thing about that stirs you in your soul is the understanding of what is great about America, and that part is still true. That greatness still exists there, and you know that it's like just under the surface of a fresh field burn where you look around and you're like, gosh, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? And you look around and you see, the char of trying to burn what you know to be a great about America, burned down to the ground where it's charred everywhere you look. But there is this freshness, this new life that is living right underneath it, that is just waiting to be recognized, to be seen so that it can flourish. And you know that you have this ability right now, whether you love this man or not, whether you're somebody who weeps over the thought of another Donald Trump presidency, and those people exist because you've loved this man, you've seen him for what he is for much, much longer than other people out there. But there are those of you who are disgusted with the way government is being managed right now. You're being disgusted with the idea that we're sending dollar after dollar after dollar that we don't have, that your children don't have, that your great-grandchildren don't have. That money keeps being sent overseas to help people who are not having to sacrifice for that money. That we have people in government who want to tell us how we're going to live our lives, what shots we're going to take. They're putting things... I understand the original idea of woke, to have your eyes opened to how the world really is. And then the flip side of that, where they took the idea of, the basic suggestion that you should understand that your lived experience is not the same as anybody else's lived experience. And the way you see the world is different than the way other people see the world, but you can look at the same world, see it differently, and come to the same conclusions. You can have basic foundational elements of agreement about what is good and right, what deserves to be protected, from very different perspectives, and the basic things that people see at you should not predefine anything about who you are. You in America, first and foremost, should be able to define who you are and what you stand for. We have worked very hard in this country, and very successfully so, to make sure that the book cover doesn't define the contents of the pages. We've worked very hard. We've shed blood over it, lots of blood over it. We're the only nation that decided we would kill our brothers and sisters over something that was morally wrong so that we could fight for a future where everybody could be treated equally. There is so much greatness in this country because of the willingness to invest in progress. And the progressives of this country are the last ones to acknowledge that. In fact, they need to snuff it out. The Democrat Party right now is the party of big government, is the party of big war, is the party of making sure that they can make every decision for you because they don't trust you to make it for yourself. They create the problem for you so they can sell you the solution with the money that they take from you. And you know this to be true. You can't afford this way of life, and they're doing that intentionally. They're making it so that you cannot afford this way of life, so that you need the government that they are willing to fund with your money so that they can have the power. And you know all of this to be true, but then you're confronted with this one final question that you can't get over. I have to vote for Donald Trump to stop this? The answer is emphatically yes, you do. You have to vote for Donald Trump to stop this. You have no choice. So much so that people who are dramatically leftist Democrats recognize that the Democrat Party that they served in, Tulsi Gabbard, ran for office in, a Kennedy, have said, this Democrat Party does not respect what I respect about this country. And the party is just a label. It's just a label that is being used to divide people further. Donald Trump is the only hope in this election to get us back on track. You have a choice. You have a say right now. You are still in the game. You still can make a difference. You can still show up to vote because on Wednesday, that's over. On Wednesday, we have results of some kind. On Wednesday, it's definitive. Now you can still get in there. You can still make that difference. This is an ad, an additional ad that I came across, and of course you'll recognize the narrator, Tucker Carlson.
Millions of Americans sincerely love Donald Trump. They love him in spite of everything they've heard. They love him often in spite of himself. They love Donald Trump because no one else loves them. The country their ancestors fought for over hundreds of years has left them to die in their unfashionable little towns, mocked and despised by the sneering half-wits with finance degrees but no actual skills who seem to run everything all of a sudden. Whatever Donald Trump's faults, he is better than the rest of the people in charge. Donald Trump, in other words, is and has always been a living indictment of the people who run this country. That was true when Trump came out of nowhere to win the presidency, and it's every bit as true right now. Trump rose because they failed. It's as simple as that. If the people in charge had done a halfway decent job with the country they inherited, Donald Trump would still be hosting Celebrity Apprentice. But they didn't. Instead, they were incompetent and narcissistic and cruel and relentlessly dishonest. They wrecked what they didn't build. They lied about it. They hurt anyone who told the truth about what they were doing. That's true. We watched. America is still a great country, the best in the world, but our ruling class is disgusting. A vote for Trump is a vote against them. That's what's going on in this country.
Tucker Carlson?
I have a feeling that he just did that as a monologue and they thought, that's a pretty good ad.
That's what Tucker does. I mean, gosh, I know. Some of you listening aren't Christians. I respect that. I understand that there's a diverse group of people listening, and I'm not preaching. Because if you listen to the show, you probably are familiar with us. All of the funny, goofy things about our lives, all of the things that we talk about or care about or joke about or whatever. But I said this at the beginning of the show. Every time I feel nervous and anxious about what's going to happen next, I put on Twitter, have you prayed for your country today? And I feel nervous and anxious about this. I have a feeling you feel nervous and anxious about this. The most dangerous thing that can happen to that nervous anxiety that I have is hope. Because people are out there, like, I feel pretty comfortable and okay, hunker down. Like, it's not going to go well, hunker down. But then there's this little glimmer of hope. And I want to implore to you, the people listening right now who are Christians, I don't want to preach to the people who listen to the show for other things. I respect that you listen. I'm going to talk to the people out there who are praying people, if you've ever been a praying person. Know where your real hope is. Know what your real hope is for. Pray that God would bless this country. Pray that God would bless Donald Trump. Pray that God would bless Kamala Harris. But pray that God stays at the epicenter of all of this. And pray for peace, because that's where the peace is actually going to come from. I don't even think that the results, one way or the other, are going to necessarily bring us peace. So if you're feeling that anxiety, pray for a peace that passes understanding. It's the only peace there really is.